Hello everyone, welcome back. Today let's solve the 36th top coding interview question from 48 top coding interview questions curated by Leetcode. We'll solve this problem using Python. This problem is the last problem in the dynamic programming list. So this is the house robber problem. So imagine you are a professional robber and you want to, you have houses along the streets. You want to rob them. The only problem is then you can't rob adjacent houses. You can't rob adjacent houses. So what you have to do is basically when you are trying to rob, so this is something very funny. So you are trying to rob, the houses can't be, you can't rob adjacent houses. So, but how do you get a maximum amount of the robbery? That's the object. That's the problem they are trying to that they're trying to ask. I mean, if you read more details about it, you will understand. So basically, this is the house 1, house 2, house 3, and 4. And the money what they have is, so we basically have to give the maximum amount. I mean, we have to get the maximum amount after robbery. But you can't rob the adjacent houses. Let's say you started with this house, house 1, you got money 1, and then you can't rob second house because it's alternate, right? I mean, if you rob again, there is a alert goes to police. So that's the reason you can't rob. So however you can rob this house. So if you start with this, let's say if you start with this 1 plus 3, which is 4 maximum. If you go this approach, if you go by, let's say if you ignore the first house and start with this house, 2, you can't rob 3 because it's adjacent house. Now the next last house has 1, so it becomes 3. So if you start with first, you will get 4 as the output, first and 3. And if you ignore the first and start with second house, which is 2, so you will get 3. So obviously 1 and 3 are maximum. You take the maximum. So you start with 1 and then you get the output. You end up at 3 and then the output is 4. So this is what they're saying. Similarly, here also same thing. You can start with 2, and then you can't rob 7, so you can't rob adjacent house. You can't go there, and then you can go to 9, right? 2 plus 9, 11, and then 1, which is 12. So that's what they're saying. If you start with, let's say if you start with 7 instead of 2, if you start with 7 plus 3, which is only 10. Or if you start with 9, let's say, you can also start like this, right? You can also start with 9, and then 1, which is only a 10. So the first option, 2, 9, 1, which is equivalent to 12. That is what they are asking us. So I already have a code for basically what the code is. So you start with rob 1, 2, so initial values, and then iterate through all these elements. So what we are doing is basically we are taking a maximum, right? Let's say you start with 1, 3, right? You get 1 output, which is 4. You also start with 2 and 1, which is 3. So you take the maximum. So 1 and 3 is the maximum. Similarly, you start with 2, 9, 2, 9, and then 2, 9, which is 11, plus 1, 12. So you start with this option. Max, you also start with 7, 3, which is basically 10. So you take the 12, right? So you're basically trying to compare these values at each stage. You're also adding up. So here it is 1, and here it is 4. 3, 1 plus 3 is 4. Here it is 2, 1, which is 3. So now 2 and 3, so 1 plus 3, which is 4, and 2 plus 1, which is 3. You take the maximum, right? So that is what here the code is. So you iterate through each element. So you start with this element, you start with this element, and then take the n, which is this. You take this, or you start with this element, maximum, whichever is this, the combination of this plus this or this. You alternatively keep doing that. You keep that output in a temporary variable. Once you are here, right? Once you are here, once you get the sum of this, or once you basically get here, so you convert that into 2 will be moved to 1, and then whatever the output is there, which will be basically you move the shift, right? 2 will be moved to 1, and then temporary will be moved to rob 2. So that's how and then finally the output will be in rob2. So here the output, if you start with this, right, if you start with the output, the 4 is here, which is rob2, right? So this is what the output is. So what I request is, so you please try to debug this piece of code by using the techniques which we debugged in few of the examples, in most of the examples in my previous code. Put a debugger, put a breakpoint, and then iterate through what each element is going on. Each element, you see the output, and then you will understand more in detail. This is one of the top interview questions in Google for entry level jobs, especially that Google asks majorly on the dynamic programming. Please put a debugger, understand in more detail. This is the task for you. Okay, all right. Thank you for watching. See you in the next video.